Hello, this is your virtual life coach, Michael Lewis. And speaking of life, life is messy and it's everywhere. How alive can you be? Now, the answer to that question is the same as the answer to how amazing can you be? And that answer is very. Have you ever had this huge victory or an amazing, wonderful news that just hit you out of nowhere? Or you fell in love and realized you were in love for the first time? How did it feel? Did everything become clear and simple and awesome and razor sharp? And when you're looking at it right now, when you're remembering it right now, it probably feels like really good. This was a time when you felt very alive, and it probably gives you a bit more aliveness just looking at it, just thinking about it. You can become more alive by making other things and other people more alive. You can do that. This is a talent that you have. There are 3 different ways that you can make other people or things more alive. One of them is obvious. You can heal them. Like if somebody's sick and you're like a doctor or, a concerned person, you just make them feel better. That makes them more alive. It's very simple. Or you can make something that's already alive more alive, like cheering somebody up when they're sad, or really, really loving someone, that kind of thing. That makes them more alive. Or you can take things that are obviously inanimate, like objects and things, and make them animate, like Mary Poppins. Maybe more realistically, have you ever talked to your car? Have you ever yelled at your TV? I don't know if that makes it more alive though, but you're thinking about it. I mean, it's there in the back of your head. Why is it tormenting you? What happened to the streaming thingy? I better call them up. Anyway, have you ever been injured or sick and then you got better with somebody's help? Okay, they made you more alive. Have you ever given someone who was alive more life, like by giving them more hope, or by cracking a joke, or anything like that? Also a pet. You walk in the door and your dog goes all bananas. Your dog is happy that you're here. He's been waiting all day and now you're here and he's more alive. There's a purpose in his life because you're here. Oh, it's so wonderful. Now, on the other hand, have you ever wished someone was less alive or not alive? That's really hard to do because as a living, breathing, immortal soul, all you really can do is give more life. That's kind of what you're built to do. And you're too good as a person not to. I know you. You're not good when you try to take life away from people. What happens when you try to make something that is alive less alive? Well, it's very simple. You become less alive yourself. You get all kind of urnchy and stoppy instead of happy and flowy and so on. Now, if you feel yourself urching up over something, just kind of clenching up over something or someone, realize that you have tried to make that something or someone less alive, like a project that you felt down on or were failing at, or a person that you were feeling grumpy about. So, just kind of check yourself over, see if you feel urnchy or stoppy on some subject or person. It's not the subject, it's not the person, it's you. You avoided putting more life into that person or that thing or that subject or that project. Simple as that. Now, here is a silly question for you. When you had a really great talk with someone, one of those really awesome conversations where you're like really, really into it and it's wonderful, did you feel aliver? Of course you did, and so did the other person. You made them more alive and they made you more alive. Yes, they did. And by making each other more alive, you're also living in each other as well. You're being the other person to the degree that you are giving them life, and they are being you to the degree that they're giving you life. And it's okay. There's tons of you to go around. So you can be other people. You can dispense parts of yourself into other people and live in other people, and they're very happy about that. and so are you. Try this right now. Wherever you are, look around the room that you're in, assuming that you're in a room, and see how far you can spread yourself around. Like be the chairs and the table and other people who might be around looking at you like, what the heck are they doing? And see how much more aliver you can make the room that you're in or the location that you're in, just by just kind of going, you can do this. You can do this. Now, I'll give you an example. I'm sitting on a train, not on a train. I'm actually in the train, in a seat, and sitting next to me by the window is this teenage girl who's texting. That's what they do these days. They text. And right outside the window, the train was stopped. Right outside the window, I could see a couple who are obviously her grandparents or some sort of relatives of hers who are older. And they're trying to get her attention, obviously wanting to say goodbye to her and so on. They're trying to get her attention, but she's just texting away. So I just became her as a loving granddaughter. And I started waving at her grandparents and blowing kisses at them and saying, bye, miss you, love you, bye. And they started waving and blowing kisses back at me. They were so happy that someone who was at least sort of being their granddaughter was doing the same thing. And finally, we got the granddaughter's attention. She started, okay, well, yeah, love you. But I was a lot better at being her than she was. But it's a lovely way to live. Why isn't everyone like this? Well, because they do not exercise their aliveness muscle. If you stop granting life to the things and people in your life, if you stop being willing to be them as well as not be them, then your aliveness goes down. You start to stagnate. You start to get solid. You start to get uninterested in stuff. And then the worst thing of all happens. You get bored. Boredom is a stagnant pool. And the awful thing about it is that the people who live there in boredom think there's nothing wrong with them or anything else. It's all, hello, how are you? I'm fine, and how are you? There's no passion. There's no earnestness. There's no belief. And that's no way to live. You're not really dangerous to anyone right now. And you look and you sound okay, so no one is terribly concerned. But you, in fact, have a leprosy of the soul. And it's getting eaten away. Your soul is getting eaten away gradually. Eat, like Pac-Man, day after day, year after year, until everything is on automatic and you're not even there anymore. What great symphonies or great scientific discoveries or great works of art were made by people who were bored? Beethoven's Fifth. Dun, 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 dun. I don't think so. The Mona Lisa. The discovery of germs. Now, do you know anyone who thinks that he or she is in good shape and all is well and everything's fine, thank you very much, but they really aren't? Have you ever felt that way and it turned out to be a lie? Well, how about right now? We won't get into that. That's between you and you. But there is something dangerous about this condition ultimately in some cases, because since it doesn't get better, it can only get worse. And if no one is worthy of being given more life, then the thing to do is to start sucking life away from them. And you become an energy vampire. You just kind of suck people's life away from them. Just by being there, just by not granting them any life, just by poo-pooing them or whatever, or ignoring them, or not being enthused about them when you should be, that sort of thing. You know people like this. You talk to them for a little while, and seems to be a pleasant enough conversation, but when you're done talking to them, it feels like somebody just poured a bucket of molasses all over you. It's sort of like, bleh, you know? You can tell when somebody's just sort of sucking the life force out of you. This is the nice person, you know. The neighbors tell the cops, well, he was always so polite and pleasant. And then, they found the 15 bodies buried in his basement, that sort of thing. How does a person get bored? Well, he gets bored when he realizes, or he makes himself or herself realize that there's no way they can win. So what's the point in trying? So it's just, stay in the swamp. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? Have you ever been in a job or an activity where it just didn't seem to be any way of winning at it? You're just sort of like, that's not fun. You probably went down a little from there or got a little less excited about things. Well, what can you do to make yourself more alive if you're totally run down and blah? It's actually very simple. You start putting order into your environment. You start putting things in order around you. You make your bed. When you were a teenager, this is perfect. When you were a teenager and you were just sitting around and doing nothing, what did your mom tell you to do? That's right. She said, clean your room. See, your mom had the right idea. She knew what you needed to do to make yourself more alive. So this is what you do. You clean your room. You bring some more order into your life. You call your son-in-law. You tell him to go get a better job. You go to your kitchen. You tidy it up. Maybe you're sick and tired of the carpet in your house, so you tear it up and you put in a new floor. Stuff like that. Get more focused. Write up some targets and goals for the week and how you're going to achieve them. Write up some targets and goals for the month. Write up some targets and goals for the year, for your life, and that sort of thing. Just, start doing some stuff to put a little bit more order in your life. And while you're putting order into your life, you can put life into the things and people of your life. I'll give you a couple of examples. There was this woman years and years and years ago. I was so mad at her. I was so mad at her. And she was going to come over and I was just going to tell her off and tell her how mad I was at her. I don't even remember why I was mad about it. I was just going to give her a good talking to. I told my wife, I'm going to give this woman a really good talking to. So she comes over and what does she do? Before I have a chance of opening my mouth, she's putting all this life into me. She's saying, oh, you are the great Michael Lewis. You have helped me so much. I just love you to pieces. I am so grateful to you. You are just the most wonderful thing in the whole world. Thank you so much for all you've done for me and my children and so on and so forth. So what could I do? I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. After she left, the next 2 weeks, my wife is, well, so how's the great Michael Lewis today? What would the great Michael Lewis like for breakfast? Would the great Michael Lewis deign to take the garbage out right now? Hey, great Michael Lewis, how are you? So I had to endure that for a couple of weeks. Anyway, here's another one. I was in court some years ago. I was testifying, and there was a hostile attorney there. And I just decided to give him a lot of life, just to grant him lots of life. And I was very nice and very pleasant to him. And just being as nice can be to all his antagonism and stuff, that he went bananas and he started calling me names. And I said, I'm only trying to help. And at that point, the judge leaned over and said, he's only trying to help. And of course, the lawyer went. So be prepared, because it works both ways. By giving more life, you're also putting more truth there. Life and truth. So by doing so, you can dissolve someone's social veneer, remove the mask from their face, and they show you their true self. And what their true self is might not be all that pretty, but it's cool. It's better than a lie. So to sum up, if you're feeling a little bit unamazing today, a little bored, a little untremendous, start with bringing some order into your life and into someone else's life and into the park across the street and the school, the community, whatever. And then just give everything and everyone around you, give them more life. You have plenty of life to go around. And that's all I have to say for now. So until next time, Love each other, observe posted speed limits, play nice, and never lose sight of who you are. Never, 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 never lose sight of who you are. So long for now.